When you think of haunted dolls, it's likely the creepy old Victorian-looking porcelain kind that springs to mind, none of which you probably have lying around. Still, don't get too comfortable around any kids' toys too soon, though. A Disney's Frozen Elsa doll that was gifted for Christmas 2013 in the Houston area made headlines earlier this year when it seemingly became haunted. As per KPRC2 Houston News, the doll recited phrases from the movie Frozen and sang "Let It Go" when a button on its necklace was pressed. For 2 years it did that in English, Mother Emily Madonia said. In 2015 it started doing it alternating between Spanish and English. There wasn't a button that changed these, it was just random. The family has owned the doll for more than 6 years and never changed its batteries. The mother says the doll would randomly begin to speak and sing even with its switch turned off. The family decided to throw the creepy doll out in December of 2019. Weeks later, they found it inside a bench in their living room. The kids insisted they didn't put it there, and I believe them because they wouldn't have dug through the garbage outside, Madonia told KPRC2 Houston News. At that point, Elsa ceased to sing the English rendition of "Let It Go" altogether, speaking only Spanish when pressed. The family then double-bagged the bizarre doll and placed it at the bottom of their garbage, which was taken out on garbage day. They went on a trip shortly after, but when they returned, Elsa too had come back and was waiting in the backyard of their home. This time, the family mailed Elsa to a family friend in Minnesota who taped the haunted doll to the front bumper of his truck. It doesn't seem to have made its way back to Houston yet, as per Madonia's latest February Facebook update on the creepy doll. I never considered myself a superstitious person. My name is Emily Madonia, and my story with the Elsa doll is something that still chills me to the bone. It all started as an innocent Christmas gift for my daughter, but it turned into something far more sinister. Christmas 2013 was a joyous occasion. My daughter Andrea unwrapped her gift to find the beloved Elsa doll from Disney's Frozen. Her eyes lit up with delight as the doll recited phrases from the movie and sang "Let It Go" when a button on its necklace was pressed. For 2 years, it performed flawlessly in English. Then in 2015, something strange happened. The doll began to alternate between Spanish and English. There wasn't a button that changed these settings, it was just random. At first, we found it amusing, a quirky feature we hadn't noticed before. But as the years passed, things started to get weirder. The doll would randomly begin to speak and sing even when its switch was turned off. We never changed the batteries, yet it continued to function. By December 2019, we had had enough. The doll had become more of a nuisance than a toy. We decided to throw it out. My husband, John, placed it in the garbage outside, and we thought that was the end of it. But weeks later, we found it inside a bench in our living room. The kids insisted they didn't put it there, and I believed them. They wouldn't have dug through the garbage outside. At that point, Elsa ceased to sing the English rendition of "Let It Go" altogether, speaking only Spanish when pressed. It was unsettling, to say the least. We decided to double-bag the doll and place it at the bottom of our garbage, which was taken out on garbage day. We thought we had finally rid ourselves of the cursed toy. We went on a trip shortly after disposing of the doll. It was a much-needed vacation to clear our minds. When we returned, however, we were met with a chilling surprise. Elsa was waiting in the backyard of our home. It was dirty and slightly torn, but unmistakably the same doll. My heart raced as I stared at it, unable to comprehend how it had returned. We decided to take more drastic measures. This time, we mailed Elsa to a family friend in Minnesota. He was skeptical but agreed to help. He taped the haunted doll to the front bumper of his truck. We hoped that by sending it far away, we would be free from its eerie presence. Months passed, and we received no news of Elsa making her way back to Houston. I kept updating my friends and family on Facebook. sharing the bizarre events that had transpired. The story garnered a lot of attention, and people were fascinated by our ordeal. Despite Elsa's absence, the sense of dread never fully left us. Every creak of the house, every unexpected sound, brought back memories of the doll's unsettling behavior. We tried to move on, but the fear lingered. One night, as we sat in the living room, the doorbell rang. John opened the door, and there stood our Minnesota friend, looking pale and shaken. He held the Elsa doll in his hands. "It found its way back," he said, his voice trembling. "I don't know how, but it appeared on my doorstep this morning." My heart sank. How was this possible? We had sent the doll hundreds of miles away, yet it had returned, as if drawn to us by some malevolent force. Desperate for answers, we sought the help of a local paranormal investigator, Dr. Lawrence Mills. He had a reputation for dealing with haunted objects and seemed intrigued by our story. We invited him to our home, hoping he could provide some insight. Dr. Mills arrived with an array of equipment, including EMF detectors, thermal cameras, and audio recorders. He examined the doll carefully, noting its worn appearance and the eerie aura it seemed to emit. "This is no ordinary haunting," he said. "There's a powerful energy attached to this doll, something that refuses to let go." Over the next few nights, Dr. Mills conducted a thorough investigation. He set up cameras and sensors throughout the house, focusing on the areas where Elsa had been most active. He also interviewed each family member, trying to piece together any connections to the doll's haunting. One night, as we all sat in the living room, the EMF detectors suddenly spiked. The air grew cold, and a faint whisper echoed through the room. The cameras captured a shadowy figure moving behind us, barely visible but unmistakably there. Dr. Mills played back the audio recordings, revealing a chilling voice repeating, "Let it go, let it go," in both English and Spanish. It was Elsa's voice, but distorted and filled with a malevolent tone. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Dr. Mills decided to perform a cleansing ritual to sever the connection between Elsa and the entity attached to it. He gathered us all in a circle, instructing us to hold hands and focus on positive energy. He began chanting in Latin, calling upon protective spirits to banish the malevolent force. The room grew colder and the lights flickered. Suddenly, Elsa's eyes glowed a bright red, and the doll began to shake violently. "Stay strong," Dr. Mills shouted, continuing his chant. We held on tightly, feeling a powerful energy surge through the room. The shaking intensified, and a high-pitched scream filled the air. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it stopped. The room fell silent, and the temperature returned to normal. Elsa lay motionless on the floor, her eyes dark and lifeless. Dr. Mills picked up the doll, examining it closely. "The connection has been severed," he said, visibly relieved. "The entity is no longer attached to this doll." We thanked Dr. Mills for his help, grateful to finally be free from the haunting. We decided to keep Elsa as a reminder of the ordeal, but we locked her in a glass case, ensuring she could never cause harm again. Life slowly returned to normal, but the experience had left its mark on us. We became more cautious, wary of the unknown forces that could attach themselves to seemingly innocent objects. I continued to share our story, hoping to warn others about the dangers of haunted items. The media picked up on our tale, and it became a topic of fascination for many. People from all over the world reached out, sharing their own experiences with haunted objects. The haunted Elsa doll had brought fear and uncertainty into our lives, but it also taught us valuable lessons about the supernatural. We learned to respect the unknown and to seek help when needed. Our encounter with the doll had been a harrowing journey, but it had also brought us closer together as a family. The story of the haunted Elsa doll will always be a part of our lives, a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that exist in the world. And as we move forward, we do so with a newfound respect for the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding.